It's the big one. We are live for the view from the top, and it is the big reveal of our top 100 AI champions. You know how it works, everybody. If you're in the house, please hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button. Tell us everything that's going on in your life. Post to tell us where you are in the world, what's new. Tell us all the information that's out there. We are today going to be revealing who are Global Mobility's top 100 AI champions. Jack Jampel's in the house. Hi, Jack. I'm seeing lots of other names flying up. I can see Krithika, I can see Ebony, I can see loads of people joining. It's so exciting. And we've got some great guests backstage. I am so excited. Backstage, we have Benivo's CEO, Nitzan Yudan. We've got Vialto's Chief Technical Officer, Ben Bahrenburg. And from Fragomen, we've got the amazing Chad Ellsworth. And indeed, we have our top nominator, the wonderful Ferzeen Chhapgar from Rubrik. So it's an amazing show we've got for you today. You know how it works. Join the conversation, write in the comments box. Tell us who you are, what's going on in your life. But not only do you get all the fun of listening to this show and finding out who are the top 100, you also get CPE codes. And you may want your CPE codes from Worldwide ERC. And many thanks to Anupam and everybody at ERC for giving us those codes. But you may also want your codes from HRCI or SHRM. And many thanks to Lisa Fontana and everybody at Rocket Mortgage for providing those codes. So I'll leave those up there for a moment. Those are the codes that are up there for you, for GMS, for CRP, for HRCI, for SHRM. You can also register now for this. This is our last season of the year. Can you believe it? December already. But we are back in January. And in January, we're going to have some of AI's power users of global mobility on the show, talking about how they are using AI. It's super, super exciting stuff. There's so much going on today. The other thing we're going to do, apart from revealing who are the top 100 AI professionals in global mobility, and that comes in a moment, we're also going to be releasing a research report that we've written based on all the prompts and all the ideas that you gave us, called Reshaping Global Mobility Through Advanced Prompting. You will want to download this report. I can promise you it is super insightful. And if you do nothing else today, stick to the end of the show. At the end of the show, we'll be releasing both the top 100 website, but also we're going to be releasing this research report on how you can use global mobility advanced prompting. So lots of really, really exciting things. That comes on, as I said, at the end of the show. But let me start off this great show. I'm going to bring onto stage the amazing Nitzan Yudan, the CEO of Benivo, to get the conversation going. So everybody, you know how it works. Hit the heart button, hit the like button, and let's welcome to our stage Nitzan Yudan.
On the top, hit the heart button, hit the like button, and give your love to the view from the top.
Nitzan, so good to see you. I'm so excited for today's show. But let me just start off. I mean, you are such a champion of AI, and certainly I know within Benivo, the stuff that you have been doing and empowering and indeed enforcing the use of AI within the organization. Tell me about your perspectives on AI from a Benivo and indeed just from a global perspective.
Yeah, thanks, Brian, and thanks everyone for joining. Super excited about today, because we're not just going to celebrate AI, we're going to celebrate the community of mobility and how the community has been adopting AI. Because I've been for 3 years, right, really fascinated by this revolution and seeing how can we make this into an opportunity? Because there's a lot of discussion. Is this a risk? And everything in life, we can look at that as a risk versus opportunity. But not often we get a once-in-a-generation opportunity to really transform our ways of working, and talking about work for a second, not all the fun other things we can do with AI. It's not a secret that mobility has been behind in technology for many years. But now the cards are being reshuffled. And we have the opportunity, without the heavy investments of the past that we just couldn't afford as an industry, to have another round and to actually go and lead and to change our position. But it's it sounds great, but it's all in our hands, right? Which can be a little bit worrying, but also, of course, a little bit exciting, depending on the type of personality. And this is why I think this community, put aside, who is doing what and what features we have. And of course, I'll say we have the best, but that's not what matters. What matters is how we as an industry come together and say, this is our opportunity. Let's push the border. Let's define the future together. Let's move, all of us as an industry, competitors, customers, vendors, everyone, because there's not necessarily going to be another chance. So I think for us, it's really, I'm so excited to see those 100 people and so many more. I know not everyone got into the list, but
let me just make that point, Nitzan. We had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of nominations, and it's always a very difficult thing. But congratulations to everybody who was nominated. If you're nominated, you're doing something right, definitely. And so many nominations out there. Ultimately, we could only choose 100 from that list. And the list is only of corporate users. So to all those who are service providers, we apologize for that. But this is a corporate list. But the use cases that people were giving us, the case studies, indeed the prompts that they were giving us were just absolutely amazing. And I really want to get into that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start sharing some of our top 100 now. The way we've done it, just so everybody knows, is there's 100 people on our top 100 list, obvious. We're going to split that into 4 videos and of 25 each. The 4 videos are completely randomized. They're not in alphabetical order. They're in no order. They're not in grade order. So you just have to wait to the end to see the whole 100. At the very, very end, we will actually show you the whole top 100 list again in alphabetical order. We'll also show you the website and we'll show you how to download the report. But what we're going to do now is we're going to show the first 25 out of the top 100. And then after that, I'm going to bring on Chad and Ben from Fragomen and Vialto to carry on our discussion. So everybody, as we get ready to congratulate the first bunch of our 100, the first 25, please everybody, hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button, and let's see who are the first 25 who made the top 100 list.
Global Mobility Community. Welcome to the big reveal of the first 25 Global Mobility Top 100 AI Champions 2025. Finalists. You are real AI champions.
So there we go. Congratulations to all our wonderful first 25 nominees. Sora on stage. Yeah, and Sora is a great application. And we do like sharing applications out there. So if you want to do that sort of stuff, Sora is great. Tally can tell you more about it. But let's just move on now and welcome our our guests. So we've got Ben and Chad. Obviously, everybody in the audience knows Vialto and Fragomen. But Ben, tell us whereabouts you're based and your role at Vialto.
So I'm Ben Bahrenburg. I get to look after our client-facing tech here at Vialto, and I'm based in the Bay Area in San Jose.
Cool. And Chad, you're also in the Bay Area, I believe.
That's right. My name is Chad Ellsworth. I manage Fragomen's San Francisco office, which is the epicenter of the AI revolution, and very excited to be here with you today.
Okay, so let's just start off a bit. I mean, one of the questions I wanted to ask is that many of our nominees, in their submissions, they said they used AI to automate complex compliance workflows. And what is this going to tell us about where compliance automation is heading in global mobility? Let me just put one prompt up here, actually. So this is a prompt. I won't say who, but somebody said some of them are anonymized, some aren't. So we've automated the work permit process with a bot that pulls documents, creates case folders, and shares them with HR, cutting processing time from 45 minutes to 5 to 10 minutes per case. So tell me, Chad and Ben and Nitzan, are you seeing companies prioritizing this kind of efficiency, i.e., automating complex compliance workflows? Ben, do you want to kick off on that one?
Sure. Short answer is yes. What we've seen is clients doing some amazing things as far as using RPA, so a little bit of those bots that are talked about in a next gen. So asking things like Anthropic to be able to go into, say, a CRM or something like Workday, pull down some records, and then do some analysis on it. I think with kind of responsible AI and human in the loop, this is what we'll be looking at for work going forward, Brian. I think it's literally going to be with your assistant.
Yeah, and Chad, are you seeing something similar?
I would agree with that. It's absolutely critical, given the volume of data involved in many of these processes. It really speeds up that analysis. It allows you to get to initial risk assessments much sooner, and it'll be a critical piece of compliance moving forward. There always will be a need for a human to be involved for those critical risk assessments that will be absolutely essential to someone's immigration path in my instance. But all the preliminary analysis, it really speeds up that compliance work, and it's being deployed across work streams, including travel visas.
And Nitzan, from your perspective, how accurate do you think this technology is now in terms of automating compliance workflows?
It's a great question, because it's like asking how accurate is a hammer. Well, it's as accurate as how you use it. And that's the key point here, right? We've seen a lot of hallucinations and a lot of mistakes coming from AI. We've also seen compliance processes operating at 99% accuracy, which is higher than most human. And
actually, that's a great point, isn't it? Because we naturally query whether AI is making a mistake, and we sort of forget the fact that actually we make mistakes all the time.
And I think what drives that is how well we use those tools. And that's why it's so important to learn the basics, but not just the basic, the advanced way of how this technology works, in order to know how to operate it safely and in a predictable way, so we can achieve repeatable results. But I just want to address one point from the quote you just shared, or that prompt, because that talks about a process automation, less about compliance specific requirement, more about a process automation. And I think what's fascinating is that this development of AI, if you want, we could also look at it as development of coding language. And if coding language started with very, very simple 0-1, so very sophisticated to operate, 0-1 coding that only a very small number of people learned, what happened over the last 70 years is that it became more widely available, more easier to code, so more people participated. And what we see here is the next jump. Now everyone can code because you don't even need to learn a language. And that's, I think, one of the real revolutions. And we've seen it yesterday at Benivo when our head of HR, she built a tool. She's not a developer. She never wrote a code in her life. She built an internal tool with front end, with back end, with security, all of that only through prompting. And I think that's kind of, the big revolution and where the opportunities are for all of us.
Okay. I want to get on to one other question before we then get on to our second 25, is I thought it was actually quite a surprising number of prompts, maybe it's not surprising, focused on tax and payroll accuracy. So I suppose the question I want to ask, and I'll address this really, I suppose, to you, Ben, in the first place, is are tax and payroll the next big frontier for AI acceleration in mobility? And as I do, let me just give you one prompt, and this is one that we can share the name of. This is from Rebecca Stevens at Zendesk. She said, monthly, our analyst was reviewing a payroll report using taxable/non-taxable matrix. Each exercise would take hours. The exercise now takes less than 15 minutes. So what took hours now takes less than 15 minutes.
Well, so Brian, I think AI and computers themselves are really great at doing complex things, right? The needle in the haystack problem, right? And I think payroll is a great example of, think of a PSA file, just as an example. You have millions of lines of transactions and you're looking for something, right? These are great examples where AI is going to be massive time savers. I think tax lends itself really nicely to this. I would, though, say immigration is also, really, really well fit for AI. But I think maybe, as Chad mentioned, needs a little bit more human in the loop on some of those things. But yeah, I think this user, that prompt really got it right. How can we figure out how to kind of go through that mountain of data and just get the insights quickly?
And Nitzan, how's Benivo using AI for payroll data?
Well, I think without getting to the specific, I think what's important here for all of us is to make sure as we use it responsibly, and that we validate the accuracy, but also protect the employees' data. So I wouldn't go and upload like a whole payroll file into an AI copilot and see what happens. It's tempting, but it's the wrong thing, right? We have to make sure we remove the PII. We have to make sure we prioritize responsible use of AI, ethical use, especially when employees' details are relevant. And I think this is where they seem, we've been building, but others as well, technology that allows to separate the two, right? Make sure that AI is not used on PII, because that's not the requirement, right? No one wants their data to be shared, especially not in mobility, right? We hold more sensible data probably than anyone else in an organization. We have to make sure we are doing more than anyone else to protect that data.
Okay. Nitzan, Brian, that's such an important point and something we're really focused on at Fragomen, even in the immigration context, the amount of personal and sensitive data involved is, really critical. And you need to do it in a compliant fashion and in a transparent fashion. So transparency around the adoption, around the processes, around the training are absolutely critical to doing it in a responsible and compliant fashion, in my view.
You know what? I think it's time now to see who are our next 25. So you've heard me say it before.
The heart button, hit the like button, and give your love to the view from the top. Hit the heart button, hit the like button, and give your love to the view.
So we know what we got to do. You got to hit that button, and let's see who are our next 25. And as I said, it's in no particular order. Let's see our next 25 of the top 100 Global Mobility AI champions.
unlocking the next set of champions who drive our digital pathway. Many congratulations to our wonderful AI champions revealed today.
So there we have it. We're already halfway through, and we welcome to the stage the wonderful Ferzeen, also from the Bay Area. There's a bit of a theme going on here, and I know people have asked about the music. I saw Ellen Shipley asked and Lauren asked. Yes, everything here has been done by AI, so of course it was done by AI, the music, and you'll find we've got a song at the end we're going to share with you as well. Ferzeen, congratulations. So you are our top nominee. You submitted some amazing prompts, and you are, of course, on the list as one of our top 100 champions. How does it feel?
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Benivo, for this wonderful opportunity. I'm excited to be here. It's always great to be on the show.
And it's just great to have you. Now, actually, Ferzeen, you submitted some prompts, and one of the things that came out from your prompts, and indeed other prompts, is that some nominees were using prompts to act as policy advisors and AI checklists. Let me just see if I can find one of yours here, Ferzeen. So this is one of yours. You said you are a global mobility policy advisor for whatever the company is, using the company's global mobility and travel policies, which presumably are then uploaded into it, help me determine the most compliant and cost-effective approach for an employee relocation. Ferzeen, provide a clear, standardized summary that includes recommended relocation benefits and entitlements, compliance considerations, tax, immigration, and payroll. So tell us about that, Ferzeen.
So I like to say, Brian, that global mobility is a team sport, right? We can't do it alone, and there are lots of little interdependencies that cut across multiple different teams. And oftentimes the intricacies lie in between what is the cost estimation, what are the hidden costs of a global mobility program, and also what can we do to be compliant within these boundaries when we land people in international and relocate them internationally. So that's what kind of motivated the prompt, because nobody has time to read these policies. When we give it to them, it's just an overload of information. So if we can quickly break down what is really important for the employee versus each of the other teams and what they need to focus on, that kind of is helpful for them as well. And it does improve the employee experience as a part of the mobility program.
And Nitzan, tell us about some of the examples you've seen of where we've used, and I should mention mobility intelligence. We've got it both behind our screens. Mobility intelligence is Benivo's version of AI. So it's AI specifically for mobility. But tell us how clients have used that to actually do advisory work on their policies.
Yeah, so we've seen clients using that in a range of areas. First is the employee facing. How do we make the information more approachable to the employees, just as Ferzeen shared? The other one was on the interaction with the business, with HRBP, with the recruiter, etc., to answer the same repetitive questions, to come over and over and take much of our time and stopping us from doing the strategic work that we want to do. We're stuck on the transactional work. So a lot of automations can come and AI usage around that with the likes of ServiceNow. So connecting that ecosystem, connecting the the HCM platforms, and other areas where we see is around compliance assessment, right? So trying to optimize move start dates in order to find where are the opportunities there, and trying to optimize the right immigration path. If I can get someone for another stop on the way, maybe it will be quicker than a direct move because of the time it takes to get an appointment in the console. And what's interesting is that this does not replacing the services, the service provider. It acts as a layer that helps surface opportunities, then go to the service provider on those opportunities. But in a way, it touches areas that otherwise would have never gone into the service provider, because you can't now assess on around 1,000 people to try and optimize a work start date. It's just too expensive. But if AI does it, now we can look at those few cases where that is very relevant and actually use an expert to validate that. And I think that combination is where are the opportunities for mobility to kind of leverage AI, but not taking the risks that come with it. So in a very responsible way.
I think that's a great point, because I know some people are scared that AI is going to take their job. But actually, all I've seen is that people, if anything, are becoming busier with AI because they're doing a better job. They're getting stuff and they're being able to take their work to a whole new level of what
it will take jobs of those who don't change. If those who don't realize that they are now expected to produce 10 times more than they did 3 years ago, they will lose their jobs. Yes, most likely. I mean, but those who will, the work is there.
Yeah. I'd like to think of AI like the sous chef, right? That preps everything for you so we can be the Michelin star head chef and prepare the final dish. Yeah. So AI gets us ready and we humans finish the dish. So
I've always said that AI is like the best intern, the best associate you ever had, but the best. I'm going to steal that, Ferzeen. I apologize, but that's fantastic quote. I do love that. Let's just go back to immigration, because we did get quite a lot of comments about the use of AI in immigration, and what a number of people are saying. I think these were immigration people doing a lot of immigration work on their own programs. They were submitting prompts for document validation, visa life cycles, and timeline prediction. So I suppose, Mike, and I'll show you a prompt here, but the question I want to ask is, how much of immigration do you think will be handled through AI agents in the next year or 2 years? And where do the biggest risks remain? I'll start with you on this one, Chad, but let me just show you the prompt or the case study that someone put. Visa agent helps and guides the employees on the visa process, and reminds their visa and assignment expiry, helps the employees quickly initiate the visa renewal by providing the required document. So tell us about that from your point of view. I said start with you, Chad, but how do you think immigration processing is going to change through AI agents in the next year or so?
I mean, I think it'll be applicable over the next 1 or 2 years to most immigration workflows, would be my view. It really, as I said, it helps collect and speed up that initial risk assessment. So it can mine travel history, it can mine employment history, it can mine on a high volume basis or even an individual basis very, very quickly, which allows for a more holistic risk assessment or strategy discussion with a client. And so I think ultimately, as I said, you're in the immigration space, the risk can be quite severe. You can deal with a 3 or 10-year bar in the United States. There's always going to be a human involved for those partnering on those ultimate risk assessments that are material to the employment and to the person. But this will appear in all workflows and really help speed up that analysis.
And what are you seeing, Ben? Where are you on that?
So I agree with Chad. I think this is things that agents or the agentic workflows are going to be really perfect at. If you look at that prompt that you had up on the screen a couple minutes ago, it's really around there's an event that's happening, so a renewal or something similar to that, and it being able to do that grunt work of sending the reminders, starting the process, and gathering that first bit of info. This is tailor-made for an AI agentic workflow. I think there's one piece that I'd add on to this is the fact that this can be highly personalized to the individual and really make it feel a lot more connected, right? So there's one thing if you get a form sent to you, hey, you need to fill this out for renewal. It's another thing when it's more personalized to your situation. We're going to be able to do all that. And in many cases, we're actually doing that now.
And Nitzan, one of the coolest things that I've seen Benivo develop is an AI digital human that actually can conduct a mock consular interview and give sentiment analysis feedback on how you're performing. Tell us a bit about that as a concept.
Yeah, I think right. This is again an opportunity for us to extend the support we give employees, an opportunity for us to provide more channels of communication and drive innovation and drive consistency and audits or audit trail, etc. So I think, AI has loads of use cases, and really what's our mission is to share the knowledge like we are doing here as part of this show, to share the use cases so we can all grow as an industry, because that's what's unique about the mobility industry. Not many companies compete with each other on how well they manage mobility, right? Most of them have other differentiators. But us as an industry, we have to compete to continue and justify the value we bring, right, with other resource allocation within the organization. And that's about us collaborating, sharing the knowledge, helping each other. I think that's really critical for the future of us as an industry.
Yeah, and this fact that it can give sentiment analysis feedback, so, and both on tone of conversation and tone of written communications, is something that, before that only a human could do, to say, well, this is how you're coming across. And the power that this sort of stuff does is just awesome. Do you think we should see a few more of who's on our list? Should we, out in the audience?
Wait.
Who else is on the list? Well, you know what to do.
From the top, the heart button, hit the like button, and give your love to the view from the top.
So let's do that. Let's hit the heart button, hit the love button, hit the applause button, and let's see who are our third batch of 25 for the top 100 list. As you see those names come up, if there's someone you know, someone you work with, or indeed you're on the list yourself, just hit that heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button. This is the show of the year where we want to see the love. So everybody, let's get the love out there as we look at our next 25.
Welcome aboard. Our next group of 25 global mobility AI champions are cleared for takeoff. Congratulations, AI champions. You are now cleared for global impact. Good luck.
And there we have it with our AI robot going off to board her plane at the end of that video. It is so exciting, all this stuff as we list up, and so many great names out there. And what I find really interesting is the people who got nominated and got on the list weren't necessarily the most senior people in their global mobility functions. Some were, but some were more junior people who've shown a real passion for mobility and a passion for AI. I was talking a while ago to a global mobility director of a company, I won't say which company, but he was saying, and they run quite a large program, he was saying they plan to recruit an AI global mobility specialist into their team. Do we think, especially for larger programs, that is going to become commonplace, that actually people recruit into their mobility teams an AI expert? I mean, what do you think, Ferzeen? Do you think there's a role for somebody like that?
Absolutely, Brian. I think that is the way it's going forward. But there are some elements of human sensitivity, because assignments do go wrong in certain times where they will need an expert. But there is a lot of repeated redundant work for like improving, managing life cycles, building strategic frameworks, supporting leaders. All of that can be kind of done through AI at the moment, and also finding different ways to kind of bring that information forward as well. So, and Benivo currently does a great job, right? You could be sipping your coffee and it could give you a lot of those kind of information at your fingertips to share with your leaders and help in the strategic planning, as well as how talent is developed, where the skill gaps are. Those are all the things kind of where AI will be leading the field.
Yeah, I always ask people to challenge themselves. And the thing I would say is, if you ever copy and paste in a document, you're doing something that technology can do.
Yeah.
If you're ever answering the same question from somebody who's asked the question before, you're doing something that technology could do. I mean, Nitzan, tell me other examples of where, you know, people just ask themselves the question, is this something that AI or tech could do?
Well, I think, you know, some of the things we've seen is like on employee engagement, and we've seen employees are asking questions that, you know, you wouldn't even imagine they will be expecting the tool to do. Like, we had an example of someone moving to Portugal with 2 dogs to Lisbon, and asking for recommendations on where expert lives, but there are also parks nearby that it's going to be easy for me to walk with my dog. Who, you know, even people who live in Lisbon might have a challenge to answer such a specific question, right? So I think that just one example from the relocation space. On other areas is really all about those point that Ferzeen mentioned, right? About being more strategic, coming to the business and not just executing on a task, but advising. And that's where we need to develop more in industry. And we've all sat in hundreds of conferences talking about that. What has changed now is now we're going to have the tools to be able to do that.
Yeah. It's almost like the 80-20 rule, right? So 80% of the work can be done by AI, and the 20% requires strategic expertise, nuances, and context to bring that to life.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just talk about another area. And I'm going to go on to more into the sort of the cost side of things. I mean, cost predictions, cost estimates, those prompts came up again and again and again. People are saying they were using or looking to use AI for cost estimates and cost predictions, whether that's the cost of maybe visas, or whether it's the cost of relocation or tax cost estimates. But that came up a time and a time again. Actually, here's one example from somebody. This was anonymous. We developed an AI model that predicts accrual risk by comparing estimated policy reload benefit costs and accruals against actual reported expense submissions to identify inconsistencies to expectations. So it is a model that predicts the accrual risk. So the question I want to ask, and maybe I'll start with you on this one, Ben, is why do you think cost forecasting has become such a major focus for mobility professionals?
I think this is a really great example of where AI and kind of the underlying data come together, because this is, you have all this data, right, that's sitting out there in a responsible way. As Nitzan, you kind of called out, we need to make sure it's secure and fitting all the privacy rules. But I think you wanted to roll up to answer that question, Brian. And I think this is where AI is, I'm going to say it's good. It's not great at that right now. Being able to kind of make some broad-based assumptions. I think as it's able to start to use tools like cost projections and calculators, I think that's where we're going to really start to see this come home, where you'll be able to ask, hey, how much is, something very simple like how much is a visa cost, or what is the estimated visa cost? But then actually be able to ask, to include that into a true cost estimate. So I think we're seeing the beginning of this, and I think it's going to get a little bit more advanced as we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think so many mobility people, if they are asked by their bosses, what is your annual budget for visa fees for next year, maybe wouldn't know that, and they wouldn't know what are the risks. I mean, and we had all that with all the H-1B stuff that happened, a couple of months back. People must have been all of a sudden scratching their heads, saying, well, actually, what is the budgetary implication of this? And Chad, do you just want to come into and I'll get Nitzan to talk about the importance of being able to estimate, immigration and visa fees.
Yeah, I think it's an acute focus of the profession right now, because there's so much uncertainty in some of the major jurisdictions around cost. The U.S., you pointed out, the H-1B proclamation, but there are other examples, and really getting out ahead of, fees are going up. What are hiring patterns? How do we model that out? If even once some of these policies are announced, it's not always clear until weeks or sometimes months later what the practical impact is going to be, or what the adjudication trends will be. So there's tremendous pressure on the client side to use these tools to model that out and give leadership the most holistic view of the risks and cost ahead.
Yeah.
Brian, I did want to also add that there are visible costs and there are a whole bunch of invisible costs in mobility. And these invisible costs are where companies can very quickly get tagged with millions of dollars of fines because of compliance and risks. And that's what we need to be mindful of. And hence the sudden obsession with all this cost estimate planning, because besides visa, housing, and transportation, there's a whole other slew of expenses that companies need to be aware of and mindful of before saying that they are going to approve a mobility assignment. So that is really, really key.
Okay, and Nitzan, people talk about cost estimates, but actually there's another estimate that people should be looking at, which is speed estimates, speed to landing. Tell us a bit about how AI can help with both cost and speed estimates.
Yeah, I think speed, right, plays a critical role in certain organizations which are around projects and about deploying people and into the specific opportunities. And over there, this is like where mobility can take a step of being able to predict and provide a forecast, and then compare that to the expected work start date. And instead of waiting kind of to, hey, oops, that the work start date has arrived and we're not ready, be able to say 3 months in advance, that's not going to work. But I looked at our talent pool, this person already have those requirements and we can deploy them on time. And I think those are the areas, right, of being able to be a lot more strategic. And the question about cost is really a question of, I've been asking myself, right, and I'm a newbie in the industry, only 10 years, I know, very new to the industry. How come this hasn't been a topic so far, right? Because everything else in the business is measured on dollar value. I think it's a good time we also move into that way. It's great to hear that this is also where so many people are using this opportunity of AI in order to take that forward.
Okay. It's super important. We're going to move on now. I want to show the fourth and indeed the last batch of our top 25. But after that, just let the audience know, please don't go anywhere, because after that, we're going to carry on the discussion. We're then going to run a video that shows all 100. And most importantly, we're going to show you how you can get that amazing report on building AI mobility prompts. And we're going to be showing you how you can actually you can congratulate the winners and how you can get your own logo to put on your own LinkedIn profile. And we can tell you everything about it. But let's just find out now who are the last of bunch of our four.
Hit the heart button, hit the like button, and give your love to the view from the top.
So let's have a look. Who are they? And so you know what to do, everybody. Hit that heart button, hit that like button, hit the applause button, and let's show some love to our next 25.
Mission Global Mobility. Let's reveal the next 25 AI champions shaping the future of our global mobility world. Mission accomplished. Congratulations, Global Mobility AI champions.
So there we have it. That's the last group of the four that we've got there. We're going to be going into a bit more detail in a moment. But one thing, I saw a comment from Laurie Ryan where she said personalization is a key consideration. And to a certain extent, we've been looking at this from the corporate end, from AI as a management tool. But I think we also need to look at it from the employee perspective. And here's an interesting comment. Someone said several submissions focused on employees and on self-service. So let me just get on to talk about self-service and the tools that people are using. And in some cases, what people are doing is they're not using their AI tool as standalone. They're putting it into something else like a Slack or Teams or Workday. So they're using AI within something else. And here's a quote from Fahad from Salesforce. And he said, I've implemented several AI-powered solutions built entirely within Slack that revolutionize Salesforce's global mobility operations. So there's the thought. So, let me just ask that question. I'll start with you, Nitzan. To what extent can these AI tools actually be integrated within other tools that organizations might just be using internally anyway?
They have to be, right? They have to be, because that's going to be the way it's going to work for us, right? It's going to be an embedded experience that needs to happen where we're used to do our work. It's not going to be a new place where I will do the work. And I think we should expect more and more of that, and more connectivity. Just like APIs are connecting technology systems, we will see the same, not only MCPs, but actually seeing how all the data is coming into one place. There's not going to be in the future like 20 chatbots that we will use at work. There's going to be one, and it will have all the information flow to there.
Yeah, and Ferzeen, is that something you're seeing within your company? You don't have the largest mobility program in the world. Are you finding that actually you're developing tools within other tools? the organization?
Absolutely, Brian. I think it's more a push versus pull strategy because nobody's waking up thinking, I'm going to log into the mobility portal and see what's happening or how it's going to impact me today or what policy changes happen. So it's absolutely imperative to have them embedded within these Slack channels, within Teams or Workday or anywhere else that teams get this information pushed to them proactively. And it makes it less reactive of a mobility approach versus a more proactive approach. Then it's definitely the way to go.
Okay, let me show you a prompt, and I'm interested in views on that, and we just discuss it. This is actually from Sandeep from Publicis. So it's quite long, so let me just put this up here. Imagine you are a global mobility professional preparing a communication for a business leader regarding a proposed 2-year international assignment from Sydney to France. Keep the communication succinct and easy to understand, enabling the business leader to make a clear go/no-go decision. What a great prompt. So Nitzan, I mean, you're a prompt maestro. Tell us your views on, the importance of specificity in prompt engineering.
I think the way I like to think about it is think about going to a restaurant and saying, I'm hungry. And then when you're being served something, say, how come this is not pizza with olives? Well, you didn't say what you want, right? The more specific we are in saying what we want.
Coming out here. Ferzeen's got her sous chef. You've got your ordering. I mean, what is it with food today? So
we are hungry.
The holidays.
It's the holiday spirits, yeah. So tell us a bit about prompt engineering.
And I think that's the key, right? To be specific. And one strategy that we are using, I'm using, and I'm recommending everyone to use is just ask the AI tool to write a prompt for you. And it's as simple as writing a basic prompt and then asking it, make it the ultimate prompt, and then starting a new conversation and pasting it there. And that's already increases the quality. And of course, remembering that this is an iterative part. So if I don't get the results I wanted, go again, share the feedback, and then if it's something I'm repeating at the end of the process where I finally get what I wanted, ask it, okay, if I were to start fresh, what should have been my first prompt in order to get this result? And then can go and use it going forward.
Yeah.
We're getting towards the end of the show. We've got about 7 minutes left. What I'm going to do now is show the video with all 100 people on, and this time it's in alphabetical order. Okay, guys, so you can see it all. And then we're going to bring Tally onto stage, and Tally is going to explain to us how the website works, where you can see all the winners, how you can download the report, how you can get a banner for your own name on LinkedIn. And if we have time, we'll also carry on the discussion a bit. But let's, without further ado, see who are the top 100 in its entirety. So everybody, I know I've said this before. I will say it again. I will say it until the cows come home. Everybody, hit the heart button, hit the like button, hit the applause button, and let's show the love for Global Mobility's top 100 AI champions.
And now, our full team of top 100 global mobility AI champions in alphabetical order.
From every corner of the world, a spark begins to rise. 100 lights are glowing, lifting horizons to the skies. They're shaping how we move, how every journey starts, turning borders into bridges powered by their hearts. Innovation in motion, a global energy. Every step they're taking redefines our reality. Here's to the champions, moving the world each day, guiding every pathway, clearing the way. Top 100 shining, the future's crystal clear. Together we take global mobility to the next frontier. the dreamers, relocate the thinkers, cross the sea, unlocking doors for talent where they're meant to be. With every bold solution, every breakthrough they ignite, they launch a world of motion into new realms of light. Innovation in motion, a global energy. Every step they're taking redefines our reality. Here's to the champions, moving the world each day, guiding every pathway, clearing the way. Top 100 shining, the future's crystal clear. Together we take global mobility to the next frontier. Across galaxies of talent, across oceans wide and deep, they turn the world into a place where every voice can lead. A constellation of brilliance rising year after year. Eye and human vision, steering the frontier. Move the world forward, lift it higher. Champions of change, igniting every fire.
Congratulations, AI champions. Together, let's launch global mobility into its next frontier.
Next frontier is here.
So there we have it. There are top
Here's to
100.
the champions.
Exactly. And that song, of course, was written by AI too.
Yes, it is Suno. It's a combination of Sora on the video and Suno on the music.
And somebody asked a question actually about learning about AI in mobility. So, but before we get onto that, Tally, just tell us about the website and what you can see now.
Yes. As always, you can go, and Brian, you can share my screen. You can go into our top 100 Benivo.com, and this time we're going to the AI champions. And this is the page of the 100 AI champions. So of course, you can scroll through all the beautiful faces.
And you just go on to Benivo.com, and then you can find the link to the list.
Yeah, you can also find from there, but you can go directly to top100Benivo.com, and I will share the link in a minute. But then if you want to, you can pick the champion that you want to message, and you can go to their personal page. So for example, here we see Caroline's page, and you can read a little bit about her, and you can connect through LinkedIn. But most important, you can share a message, you can write your message, you can add your email, and then send congratulations. But while you're there, you can also download the report. So this is a real cool report that we created out of all these.
I've read this. It's just amazing, this report. Yeah, very useful.
Yes.
Somebody asked, I think it was Krithika, asked about learning about AI for mobility. If you do nothing else, download this report. You'll find it super useful.
Yes. You shared a few of the prompts, but we had tens of prompts that were shared with us, and based on them, we created this report. I wouldn't say how we created it, but you can guess. But no. But Brian, we're using AI a lot, but like with Suno, like with Sora, like with ChatGPT, it always takes a person behind to really know what to do with these things that we're getting from ChatGPT. So here, it's kudos to Michelle Couran, our head of marketing, who created this beautiful, beautiful report. So, but if you are one of the champions, you can go back to your private page, and if you want to share your achievement, and you should, then you can copy the link here at the top. You can go to LinkedIn and start a post. You can paste it here, and immediately LinkedIn will pull out your personal card. You can add a message, and then you can post it on LinkedIn. And if any one of you guys are out there and you see these posts shared with the community, be sure to show your love. Go there, send a comment, and let them know that you appreciate the work.
So there we are. I'll just take that off screen. So that is amazing. And many thanks to everybody at Benivo who's helped put this list together, to Tally, to Bengfi, to Michelle, to everybody else. Congratulations to all the top 100 champions. Congratulations to all our audience for staying with us and hopefully enjoying the show. Many thanks to our guests of the day, to Chad Ellsworth from Fragomen, to Ben Bahrenburg from Vialto, to Ferzeen Chhapgar from Rubrik, to our very own Nitzan Yudan from Benivo. That's it. That's the end of the show. We are back next year. So that's it for the year. We are back next year with our powered list of champions who are going to tell you some of their power uses of AI. It's fascinating. The world is changing even as we look. Do make sure you download that report. It is super interesting, exciting. It's well worth a read. And do make sure you get on there and you congratulate everybody who's on the top 100 list. And indeed, if you're on the top 100 list, do make sure you put your banner on LinkedIn. I'm Brian Friedman. I've been the host on The View from the Top. We hope you really enjoyed the show. All that really remains is for me to say goodbye, and maybe I'm the first one to wish you all happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.